हाय गाइस, वेलकम टू अवर यूट्यूब चैनल एमबीए पाठशाला। तो एमबीए पाठशाला ने आप लोगों की स्पीड बूस्ट करने के लिए, आपकी टेस्ट टेकिंग एबिलिटी को इंप्रूव करने के लिए एक फ्री डेली क्विज का इनिशिएटिव लिया है, जिसको आप लोग हमारे पोर्टल पर www.mbapathshala.com पर जाकर हमारा जो फ्री कोर्सेज का सेक्शन है, कैट 2026 फ्री प्रिपरेशन एक कोर्स है, उसमें एनरोल करके आप डेली बेसिस पर एक फ्री क्विज लगा सकते हो। ये क्विजेज आप लोगों के एग्जाम यानी कि कैट 2026 तक हम लोग प्रोवाइड कराने वाले हैं। हमारे यूट्यूब चैनल पर इसका एनालिसिस मिलेगा, क्विज रहेगी हमारे पोर्टल पर।
Hi students, so now let's start discussing the daily rules quiz that you've attempted just recently. Let's focus on the first question. These questions are sentence insertion questions. You've already seen that. Read these sentences and the paragraph, quickly. Team, what does this question ask you? This question asks you, in fact, all these questions test you on your ability to spot the pairs, your ability to spot the sense of continuity, and to find out a rupture or a gap in the sense of continuity. So there is some missing information. You have to spot the missing information, and you must be able to see the connection among sentences. So at the end of the day, team, what you should be able to find out is the sense of continuity. Now let's see. What are we discussing in this sentence? We are discussing physical relocation of populations. Yes or no? The subject matter is gentrification. Okay. The gentrification is frequently analyzed. Gentrification is frequently analyzed through a purely fiscal lens. The moment we talk about the word fiscal, we are referring to what? Money, finances, monetary terms. So gentrification is quite often, frequently analyzed from a financial angle, from a fiscal lens. So as long as you are referring to, team, as long as you are referring to these finances, this monetary aspect, there is no change in track. There is no change in track, because if you read the sentence carefully, you will realize that it talks about not the financial aspect, but the physical aspect, the physical relocation. The physical relocation of populations instantly disturbs, completely dismantles the networks. It completely dismantles the networks of mutual reliance built across generations. Sure? Okay. So let's read further. Capital infusions. We are still discussing capital infusions, the money that is being invested. Capital infusions undeniably revitalize decaying infrastructure. So decaying infrastructure gets revitalized and attract novel, new commercial enterprises to neglected districts. So we are still discussing the whole thing from a financial angle, from a fiscal perspective. Upscale boutiques, artisanal cafes readily replace traditional neighborhood institutions like bodegas and multi-generational markets. This commercial transformation, team, even till now we are discussing that same commercial transformation. There is no shift in track, there is no change in discourse. However, extracts a profound communal tone. So with this, however, there is a change, there is a shift. However, this commercial transformation has a huge communal, that means related to community, has a huge, profound, deep communal tone. That standard metrics, that standard parameters fail to register. Now, what is that huge communal toll? Rising rents systematically force working class families to shift, because the rents rise, a huge communal toll is there. What's that? These families, working class families, have to move to more affordable areas. They have to move to more affordable areas. They can't afford the rents of that place. So they have to shift to more affordable peripheral areas. That means you are referring to the physical relocation. Team, the answer has to be the third sentence. This is where you will place. This is where you will place the sentence given at the top. Why? Because it refers to the physical relocation. They have moved to peripheral areas, so the entire population has moved and shifted and relocated. It's the same word, shift and relocation. Let's read further. Neighborhood safety and cohesion historically relied on these informal networks. Which informal networks are we referring to? The informal networks that are given in this sentence. So team, there was a gap. Suddenly this sentence, which talks about neighborhood safety and cohesion, starts discussing these informal networks. So which informal networks? Prior to in fact prior to blank 3, there was no reference of any such networks. So the missing sentence which talks about the networks of mutual reliance has to be placed over here, so that these exact informational networks can have a reference, can have a antecedent, can have an antecedent. That is why the answer is 3. I'm moving further. Okay, take a brief pause. This question is on the easier side. It can be done if you focus on the right words, if you are observant enough. We are discussing eyewitness testimonies in this sentence. Eyewitness testimonies recorded right after, immediately after major events, offer vivid detail, but they lack something. What do they lack? They lack systemic perspective. So, testimonies recorded right after major events, they lack what? The systemic perspective which long-term analysis have. Now, let me show you the answer. So we are comparing two things. The testimonies recorded right after major events are being compared with the memoirs, that are published decades later. Students, right after and decades later. That's the comparison. That's the contrast. And for this contrast, memoirs published decades later, you need to place the sentence in blank number 2. In blank number 2, there was one more data point. And what is that? Present another challenge. Students, read this part carefully. Memoirs published decades later. Memoir is what? An autobiography, a first person account. It's a first person account. It's an autobiography. So somebody is publishing his or her first person account. There's another challenge. Present another challenge. So the word another refers to something coming later. That means there has to be some challenge prior to it. And what is that challenge? The lack of systemic perspective was the previous challenge. In eyewitness testimonies. Memoirs published later have some other challenge. And what is that? Present another challenge, as recollections are inevitably reshaped by subsequent historical developments. That the recollections, the memories, they get reshaped. So clearly, it has to be in blank number 2. Let's read further. Let's look at the next question. Grammatical frameworks determine. So they are the determinants. They are the factors. Grammatical frameworks are the factors. They are the determinants. What do they determine? Degree of attention that you provide to spatial orientation and temporal progression. Team, spatial talks about space, how space is arranged. Temporal talks about time. So we are discussing space and time. Grammatical frameworks are the factors that determine the degree of attention that you allocate to, that you provide to spatial orientation. Take a brief pause, read it carefully, and you will see that there is a clear connection. For example of what? Let's see. Let's read it together. For example, communities utilizing absolute cardinal directions. Absolute cardinal directions, that means these directions: north, east, west, south. North, east, west, south. these words, spatial directions, the communities that utilize absolute cardinal directions rather than relative terms such as left and right, which are relative terms and not absolute directions. The communities that use these cardinal directions demonstrate superior spatial awareness. They have better, superior spatial awareness. Their orientation of space, their awareness of space is much better. So the language, the grammatical frameworks, the grammatical structures they use, determine spatial orientation. And the idea that was there in the sentence, gets substantiated, gets elaborated by the examples that are coming later. So clearly you have to place the sentence at the top over here in the second blank, because the examples given are examples of what? Are examples of grammatical frameworks determining your spatial orientation. The language that you use, the grammar that you use, it determines, the degree of attention that you allocate to spatial orientation. So these are, the examples of the idea that was given in the sentence. Let's read further. The next question. This is also doable. The central concentration of regulatory authority. Team, what are we discussing? Central concentration. It stifles regional economic innovation. If something is stifled, that means it gets suffocated. So to suffocate something, to stifle something, to suffocate something, to stifle something, to choke something, to choke, to stifle, to suffocate, to smother. Smother is a high society word. Smother is and stifle are high society words. Suffocate and choke are, of course, the words that we are friends with. Yes or no? So, central concentration suffocates, it stifles, it smothers regional economic innovation. That means it has an adverse impact. It has a very strong, adverse, unfavorable impact on economic innovation. It completely suffocates it, chokes it. Do you see the connection now? Team, what is the answer? The answer is, of course, in contrast. In contrast, let's read this line. In contrast, decentralized. So this is clearly a centralized system. Team, sentence 4 presents a centralized system where central concentration of regulatory authority is being discussed. So the regulatory authority, the regulatory power is vested in a central institution. There is a centralized system. Yes or no? In contrast, on the other hand, so you are setting up a contrast between two systems. The centralized system given in the sentence, and the decentralized system coming right after blank 4. So what does a decentralized system do? It does not stifle, it does not suffocate, it does not smother, it empowers, it supports, it strengthens, it empowers, it supports local assemblies, it supports local assemblies with customized legislative solutions. So team, it has to be in blank 4, because only when you place it in blank 4 can you present this contrast. That centralized system, it suffocates, it works against innovation, whereas in contrast, the decentralized system, it empowers, it supports local assemblies. Sure? Now, let's look at the last question in today's discussion. Now, this is a high quality question, team. This is a high quality question. Take a brief pause. Such preference, that's the clue. Such preference for adherence. You have to ask the right questions. What kind of preference for adherence? Which preference for adherence? When you adhere to something, you stick to something. Students, when you adhere to something, you stick to something, you follow something religiously. such preference for adherence to fixed historical meaning of constitutional text. That means preference for sticking to, following the historical meaning of what's written in the constitution. Constitutional text simply means what's written in the constitution. So such preference, this kind of preference, with this reference, you can clearly look for the preference that has been discussed prior to this sentence. And if you read carefully, students, you will see that it has to be placed in blank number 3. They assert. Who assert? They assert. Who assert? Critics assert. The ones who criticize. We were discussing two groups. One group supports the idea of a living constitution where you keep reinterpreting, where you keep adapting, changing, the constitution to contemporary societal norms. There are supporters of the idea of living constitution who support and say that okay, we should keep on adapting our legal texts according to the society's norms, Critics, on the other hand, they argue that if such flexibility is there, what happens? The judiciary turns into lawmakers, thereby completely subverting, overthrowing. To subvert is to overthrow. What happens? Democratic legislative processes are overthrown. So they assert. Who assert? The critics. Those who say that there is no business, there should not be any business of changing the constitution, of tinkering with the constitution. They assert that amendments rather than judicial decrees are the only legitimate mechanism. If you have to alter the constitution, there can be only one way, the amendment way. Otherwise, you should not change the constitution. You should not alter the constitution. Critics say that whatever is written in the constitution can be amended only in one way. And what is that? Through amendments, that is the only process of legal alteration. So they clearly believe that we should adhere to the fixed historical meaning of what is written in the constitution. Such preference, which preference? Where you only and only believe in amendments being the only methodology, being the only process of changing the constitution. Otherwise, you should not change the constitution. So you are adhering to the fixed historical meaning. You are not interested in changing the constitution. So clearly, students, it has to be answer 3. It can't be option 4. It can't be the fourth blank, because such preference for adherence is clearly shown over here, where these critics say that the only way possible for a constitution to be changed is the amendment, nothing else. So they are clearly preferring the fixed historical meaning of the constitution. They are not interested in re-evaluation. They say if this re-evaluation happens all the time, what happens then? Everything becomes very, very arbitrary. So they were interested in preventing arbitrary, random re-evaluation, because with arbitrary, random re-evaluation, what happens? You are expressing your personal political preferences, nothing else. So it has to be in blank 3. Sure? So team, I hope you have understood whatever we discussed over here. These were quality questions. The difficulty level was undoubtedly on the higher side, but that's how we progress. That's how we become better. So with that, I'll take your leave. Thank you so much.